Good morning and welcome to our series Co-Parenting. This is a 6 week course designed to help fathers who are co-parenting. And so I'm excited this morning. I am Pastor Roy Reeves, your host, and I am excited to have you joining me in the session. I would invite you to subscribe to our channel, like and share, because this information that we're sharing is very potent and very important to all parents, both fathers and mothers. So, our topic today is understanding and managing conflict from power struggle to peaceful parenting. That's what we're focusing on today. And I'm excited to have you all joining with me. And so, our lesson objectives today, by the end of this session, participants will be able to recognize common conflicts and triggers in co parenting, understanding how emotions can fuel our calm disputes. And so there's no co parenting without having some level of conflicts or disagreement, but there are best practices, way we can overcome them, ways that we can best manage them in a way that it doesn't impact your child's life, which should be the focus of what we do. Now, apply real life strategies to de escalate um, arguments and move towards solutions. That's what our aim with this series that we're doing. Reflecting on real world case study and apply course strategies that can help you to be more effective in your co parenting plan. And so I am so thankful today for all those who are joining us that you're at the right place at the right time. And so, why conflict happens in co parenting? Why do you have conflicts? Conflict is natural, essential when two people with history are raising a child separately. So, you were once married and you're separated, you're divorced, but sometimes some of the matters are unresolved, though you might have received counseling in terms of divorce counseling or premarital counseling or marriage counseling. There are times when there are issues that is unresolved. And so major causes for conflicts, and we're going to look at those major causes for conflict, right? Unresolved emotional wounds from the breakup. So some persons are, it takes a longer while for you to forgive, for you to let whatever had caused that separation to go. And so uh, I'm encouraging you, particularly as men, you have to strive your endeavor best to make sure that you understand how to control your emotions, how to control your feeling. Managing your emotion is very important if you're going to uh, understand why conflict happens in co-parenting, right? Another important point that I want to make here: control issues over decisions or routines. It's very important to know that conflicts derives from these very things, right? Different parenting styles or household rules also is a factor that impact co-parenting and managing conflicts, right? Now, financial disagreement is also another big one on the path where you have conflicts, right? So you have to both realize that you have a responsibility to discuss these things. Why? For the best interest of the child. All right, child support, school expense, right? All of these doctors visit, all of these are factors that do impede and impact having a good co-parenting life together as you strive to grow your children or your child in the best way you can, right? Inconsistency in communication on clear expectation are some of the major reason for conflicts, right? So, as I said, conflict is natural, right? And it is unavoidable as long as you're going to be working and with each other, whether it be man or woman, right? You're going to have some level of conflicts. Now, common conflict triggers. There are things that triggers conflicts within the era of parenting and co-parenting in particular, right? Scheduling uh, also creates conflict, right? Last minute changes, miss pickups, our vacation planning. Now, it is important, and I'm encouraging our fathers who oftentimes have a great responsibility to work with your co-parent, the parent of your child, that you have to strive to make sure that you don't do things at last minute, right? You have to communicate effectively, right? To avoid conflict, right? New partners is another aspect of conflict within co-parenting, right? Jealousy and disagreement about involvement in the child's life, because I will encourage, whether you're your father or a mother, if you're watching, it is important that you give yourself time to heal after you have had a broken relationship. And also you need to know that there is a great impact that it can have on your children, because they become confused. And when you have, they are now expect to call two men their dad, their children, which is much younger, find it difficult to understand and become confused. A grown child might understand much better, but you have to take responsibility as parents to make sure you communicate and give time for your child to understand the changing dynamics that they're in. Discipline differences also cause conflict. One parent is stricter than the other, right? That is also, but there must be balance in our discipline and in how we communicate our reason for disciplining your child. It must be communicated effective to the child. School and health decision is another area of disagreement over education, vaccine, and etc. Other factors that do cause. And so managing conflicts within co-parenting is important. You need to get the help and support. So if you have to go to a group, if you have to find a mediator to help within this regard, it is important for you to do so. Financial transparency is important. Dispute over how child support is spent is one major factor that a lot of person who has to co-parent our shared responsibility do happen. So common triggers, these are 5 common triggers that do impact. These triggers often overlap with deeper emotional issues, unresolved conflicts from what causes the relationship to end. And so I want you to bear in mind that you have to work together in order to make sure that you mitigate the problems and the conflicts within your co-parenting arrangement, right? The role and emotion in conflicts. So you have to understand your role and your emotion. As men, oftentimes we are logical thinkers, and sometimes we don't consider the emotions. Women are emotional beings, and so if you're a father relating to your ex, you have to be careful with your ex partner in terms of how you relate, right? Emotions are at the core of most conflicts, right? Co-parenting may carry. These are the things that you have to be aware of, and so resentment from the breakup still lingers, right? So these are factors that you have to understand what causes conflict within the co-parenting arrangement. Guilt over how the child is affected, right? You're guilty, right? A father might be guilty because he has been absent and not being in the present of his child's life, right? Fear of loss of influence or connection with the child is another factors that most fathers are dealing with. But you, once you communicate effectively, once you let your child know, the child is within your home, right? Because you are now parenting the child from 2 separate homes, right? 2 houses. You have to make sure you give as much support to your child and also to your child's parent, right? Anger from unmet expectation or past betrayals. Now, these are factors that cause conflict within co-parenting. And so, how do we mitigate these things from not getting worse, where you have to go back to before the court, the judge, for him to rule on your situation. You have to learn to build a support system as parents that will help you to garner the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding of how to get over these situations. Unmanaged emotions can turn small issues into major battles. And indeed, it does happen. And my encouragement to you, if you're a father watching or a mother, that you have to understand how to deal with your emotions, right? Emotional awareness is important, right? Conflict prevention is important. So your emotional awareness will prevent you from having conflict, right? Learn to recognize your emotional triggers. So, what is it that triggers my emotion? Now, if you know that when you make a telephone call to your co-parent, uh, that happens. Instead of making a call, you can use the medium of writing, right, or sending a text. You got to find ways. Don't talk about the issues that brings up or stirs anger. So, three critical things. You have to learn your emotional triggers. Second, pause and ask yourself, are, are why are you upset before responding, right? So you have to be careful how you respond when you're angry. You don't want to say something that you can take back, and it's become a record on your parental arrangement, because there's an arrangement that you all have when you get into this partnership of raising your child from two separate homes, right? So use coping tools like deep breathing, right? Journaling, or you venting to a natural party. So find somebody who's not connected to your emotional baggages as are things that has been affecting you. And so that is important for you to know how emotional awareness, right, helps you to deal with conflict and prevents you from having outbursts, and how it impact your child emotionally, mentally, and otherwise, right? So strategies to de-escalate conflict. What are some of the things that you have to do as a co-parent in order to proper manage the things that will arise now and then, whether it be in the fact that you have to make decision in uh, the welfare of a child in terms of all the things that is necessary for the child's well-being, the child's educational health issues, right? What you do when you have summer break, holidays, how do you deal with all of these things? Stay child focused, right? If you're going to um, be successful as a co-parent, right? Strategies to de-escalate is to stay child focused. Ask what's best for your child in this moment, right? So there are some questions that you got to ask yourself. What is best for the child, right? You have to understand, take a break if emotions are running high. Take a break, take a break. Agree to resume later, but don't continue to persist, because you are going to make the situation worse, and you don't want that. Because who suffers most within this is not you as parents, but your child, who you're trying to raise to see life and to understand that life is more than just the disagreement that is between my parents, but their life has so much for them to know and to learn. And if they are going to live healthy life as they've grown into adulthood, it has to do with your examples as parents, right? So use I statements. Focus on how you feel, not on blaming or bringing up whole wounds. Old wounds always trigger conflict, right? Keep communication brief and business-like, right? It is necessary. Use natural uh, 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 mediums, or you can find things that can reduce use apps. There are talk parents. There's up to us with all of these apps are designed to help you communicate effectively when you're having problems in managing your conflict as co-parent. And so it is best for your child to see you having a good relationship. The child's health and well-being will be protected when the child see both parents not arguing, not being bitter against each other. Don't use the child to vent your anger either, because that's not healthy, right? Healthy conflict resolution technique is important. What are There are at least four important techniques that I want to share with you. Seek compromise, the first one, right? Both parents may need to give a little, right? So you can't have it your way all the time, fathers. Neither can the mother have it all the way. But it's your responsibility to be mature in the situation and to do what is best for your child's life. Set boundaries. It is important to set boundaries. Keep your personal lives and relationships separate from your co-parenting relationship, right? So don't bring up uh, your partner in conversation or talk about those situations. It does not help in doing co-parenting in an effective way, right? Agree on conflict rules, right? What are some of the things that you need to agree on? The third important thing is to agree on conflict rule. No yelling, name calling, or use the child as a go-between, because this is often happen and the child suffers in this regard. The child's emotional and mental well-being is impacted greatly when we do that. And the fourth and important technique that you have to use in managing conflict while you co-parent is practicing forgiveness, right? The Bible did tell us that if you can't forgive your brother his offense, neither will your heavenly Father forgive you. And so, fathers, you have to demonstrate empathy and care in this regard. Why? For the best interest of your child, right? Not for, you have to understand that forgiveness is important because you are healed in the process, not for the other parent, but for your own peace and and your child's future. Learn to forgive. So I'm encouraging you, parent, father in particular today, but if you are having a challenge in your co-parenting relationship with your partner who you're working with, please realize that healthy conflict resolution techniques are important. You have to learn these things if you're going to have your child grow up to respect both parents. You want to know that your child respect you and value you, right? But it's how you demonstrate your that will determine that. Ac- Activity and case studies that we would love for parents to know and to work through. So I have prepared some things that I really want us to do, but because we are not in person, we're doing it as webinar. I'm hoping that one day we can have a session where all those who are participating in the 6 week course can come together and we have some case study, right, like that consistent. If one of the important aspect that to mitigate in terms of conflict is that dad is consistently late for pickup and blame traffic. Mom is furious and wants to change custody arrangement. These are things that we could discuss. What are the triggers in your conflict? What emotional are likely to involve or cause problems, right? What solution or strategy could help, right, for you to have you know things done when that deals in dealing directly with our dads. But when it comes on to our mom, mom wants 10-year-old in therapy. Dad isn't is that's not necessary and refuse to participate. So these are some of the case studies that we love to have play in order for us to able to work through and manage conflicts within co-parenting. Now, the next important point I want to share with us as you grow in your relationship in co-parenting, the child's experience of conflict is very important. Children may feel responsible, anxious, and afraid during parental disagreement. And so that is why you can't vent your anger before the child. You need to find mediums and way how to resolve your situation. Don't bring the child in it. You impact the child's well-being and growth. Ongoing conflict can lead to behavioral issues, trouble concentrating and sleeping. The child is disrupted immensely when parents don't work together for the best interest of your child. Children do not need perfection. They need peace, cooperation, and love. And so, how are they going to receive this? It means that both dad and mom will have to demonstrate that in your relationship in co-parenting. Every time you manage conflict well, right, you show your child how to handle tough situation that they will face in the future, right? And so, my encouragement to you, dads and mom, if you're watching, you have to demonstrate kindness and love towards each other. The power of perception, right, is another factor that affects in terms of conflict management. You need to try to see the other parents as a partner, not an enemy, right? So that you have to see the child's mom as not an enemy but a partner in raising your child, right? You have to understand you are both trying to raise the same child with love, even if your methods are different, right? But you have to try to know that it can't happen, it can't work without both of you agreeing, right? Think long term. The more peace now, the less trauma later for the child, right? Healthy conflict resolution sets up your child for better future and relationship. I can't emphasize that more than I am emphasizing it today, right? And so, conclusion to this session today, the key takeaways. What do I want you to take away from this session in conflict management? Conflict is natural, but it does not have to be toxic, right? That's the first thing I want you to take away. Emotions must be acknowledged and managed. Very important. Focus on the child, not the history. Use de escalation techniques like breathing, right? Counting from 1 to 10, right? Or from 10 to 1 to make sure you don't let things get out of hand, right? Use these tools, right? Pause and take active listening, right? Practice grace, forgiveness, and boundaries. This will help immensely in conflict management. And so we are going to be giving you additional resources that can help you in terms of your co-parenting. Two Homes, One Child by Robert Emily. That's a very good tool to use, right, as a support system as you learn. You need to also get counseling and mediation if you're having challenges. And so at the Women's Wellness Center and the Men's Support Service offers this type of coaching and help that you can have a successful co-parenting relationship. And so, reflection and feedback. What resonate with you most in today's session, right? What one thing you as a co-parent can plan to do or to apply this week in making sure that you have a successful relationship with your co-parent. I would love for you also to write a few sentences in your journal about your time handling a disagreement as well. So these are things I'm sharing with you that can immensely help you as a father, Lord, to make sure that your child is happy, that your child grow up nurtured and strive immensely. So practice or encourage writing and reflection, right? And I would love for you at the end of this 6-week course to write an essay. Not we're not going to be marking this essay, but it's just for your own growth and for your own development. And so today I am truly thankful for all those who have joined us. Again, I ask for you to subscribe to our channel, like and share. We want to help as many fathers, we want to help as many mothers who are having struggle in this very role of co-parenting. And so until we meet for our fourth session, I want to say thank you and have yourself a blessed day. Thank you.